Hi, I'm Abby. This is Abby Matt Reads, and welcome to my spring book haul. I have 20 books that are eager and willing to meet you. Some are lesser known than others. Some I just got from works where there was like a sale for like free paperbacks for $5, so I thought, why not? Some of them are more well known in BookTube. I haven't got much time, so I will just fly through them. And this library, by the way, it's in Admont, Austria, but the name of it, and this is going to be fun for me to pronounce, is Stiftsbibliothek. And now you know. Let's get on with the books. The first two books I'm going to show you are not actually books that I own, but have been lent to me by my friend Stella. So Stella, if you're watching, hi, thank you for lending me these books. The first of which is Queenie by Candice Carty-Williams. I've heard that this is a kind of modern day Bridget Jones and talks about life, love, race and family. And I know that Stella liked it very much, and I'm really curious as to what this book is going to do for me. The second book I borrowed from my awesome friend Stella is John Green's Paper Towns. I've never read a John Green book before, but I know they're really, really popular on BookTube. And this is about Quentin, who is kind of in love from afar with Margot, and she invites him on a kind of road trip revenge thing. And the next day he turns up at school, but she doesn't, and he has to follow these kind of clues to find out where she is and really who she is. The next book I'm about to show you is actually 3 books that I bought, but I'm not gonna bother picking up all 3 right now. And I am late to the game saying this, but it is Twilight by Stephanie Meyer. And I've bought all 3 of them. I am probably the last person in the world that hasn't read them. And I thought I'd just give them a go, because this says £1.50, but they're actually 75p each from a charity shop, and you can't go wrong there. The next book I want to show you is Heartless by Marissa Meyer. I was definitely recommended to read this by Olivia from Olivia's Catastrophe, and I'll put her link down below. I don't know much about this book other than it is the origin story of the Queen of Hearts from Alice in Wonderland, and I love origin stories of characters like that, and I'm really looking forward to seeing like how she became who she was. I think it's going to be a really interesting read. The next book I want to show you is Everything I Never Told You by Celeste Ng. This is about a Chinese American family that live in Ohio in the 1970s, and their favourite daughter is murdered, and it's kind of a tale about their family and their loss and their grief and their secrets. The next book, and one that I picked up in the works, is The Downstairs Girl by Stacey Lee. Oh, invisible. I'll put a little picture up the top. And this book is about a young girl called Jo Kwan, who is a Chinese girl living in 1890s Atlanta, and she leads a double life. By day she's a maid, and by night she has a kind of secret identity as a radio advice agony aunt, I would say. Yeah, so that sounds interesting. The next book I want to show you, and another one I got in a charity shop, which was a bargain, is Knife Edge by Mallory Blackman. This is the second in the Noughts and Crosses trilogy, which I started reading last month, again on the recommendation of Olivia, and the first one blew me away. It's such an ingenious concept for a book, in that it is a world where the kind of black people have all the privilege and white people are the oppressed people, and what lengths people will go to try and gain power or acceptance. It's really blew me away, and I'm looking forward to the second one. Obviously can't tell you much about it in case it ruins your reading for the first. The next book is one I'm quite excited about, and that is A Conjuring of Light by V.E. Schwab. It is the third in the what is it called, the Shades of Magic series trilogy, and I devoured the first 2 books. I buddy read the first 2 1.5 with Olivia because she didn't like the second book, but I loved it. It's basically about Kel, a kind of magician who can travel between all these different kinds of London, and there's magic, and it gets into the wrong hands, and I don't want to spoil anyone's reading by telling you what happens, but this is the final book in the series, and I'm very excited to read it. The next book is Our Child of the Stars by Stephen Cox, which sounds like a kind of beautiful story, I think. Molly and Jean have lived a good life together, but they've always wanted children and they can't have them. And then a meteor strikes their town and a kind of boy appears. Molly is a nurse, so she starts taking care of him, and he changes their lives. But because of the nature of his being, a lot of people are looking for him. This book is The King of Crones by Libba Bray, and it is the last in the Diviners series, a series that I think is my second favourite series of all time. I absolutely love the Diviners. If you don't know, they are about a group of young people in Prohibition time in New York who are kind of living it up and loving to party, but also have special powers, and they're diviners, and evil things start happening and they have to start using their powers to basically save the world. This is the last one. I'm going to probably cry after I read it because there'll be no more, but I'm still looking forward to reading it. The next book is The Boneless Mercies by April Genevieve Tucloch. Sorry. I'm not quite sure how to succinctly put what this book is about into words, so I'm just going to read from the back. Frey, Ovi, Juniper and Runa are boneless mercies, death traitors, hired to kill quickly, quietly and mercifully. It is a job for women and women only. Men will not do this sad, dark work. Frey has no family, no home, no fortune, and yet her blood sings a song of glory. So when she hears of a monster slaughtering men, women and children in northern Jarldom, she decides this is the Mercy's one chance to change their fate, but glory comes at a price. Sorry if you couldn't see my face then, but that's not exactly a punishment for anyone, is it? The next book is one I'm really excited about, and that's A Famished Heart by Nicola White. This is a kind of crime thriller, which I don't normally read, but this caught my eye because it sounds so good and quite creepy, about how two sisters are found in their home. They have starved to death. One was found after she had crawled under the bed, like her face frozen in like terror, and the police come to the conclusion that they weren't alone while they starved to death, that somebody was watching them, and it sounds so creepy, and that's just what I love. The next book is Time's Convert by Deborah Harkness. This is a kind of spin-off from the All Souls trilogy, of which I've only read the first one, Discovery of Witches. To be honest, I only kind of bought this book to make it up to 3 books so I could get them for a $5. But it does sound interesting. I just think I need to read the original series first. This is kind of about how Marcus became a vampire. This next book is God's Grave by J. Kristoff. I don't really need to tell you like how popular these books are. I read Nevernight about a month, maybe 6 weeks ago, and it blew me away. I loved it, and this is the second one in the trilogy, and I think I'm going to fly through it. This next book is Moriarty by Anthony Horowitz. This is about after Moriarty and Sherlock Holmes die after falling to their deaths, and a new criminal mastermind emerges and takes his place. A student of Holmes's who has studied his approach to solving crimes and puzzles has to try and track him down before he causes too much menace on the streets of London. Now on to the hardbacks. I bought Silka's Journey by Heather Morris. This is the sequel to The Tattooist of Auschwitz, and I haven't read that yet, so I'm not going to see and look what this book is about because it might give me spoilers for The Tattooist, and I don't want that. The next book is The Other People by C.J. Tudor. I will buy anything by C.J. Tudor. I love her work. This one is about a man who sees his daughter's face in the rearview mirror and she says daddy, and then she goes missing and no one hears from her again. And it's basically about the hunt for her and all the paranormal and scary things that happen along the way. Definitely going to be a good read for me. This next one is Sarah J. Maas, Crescent City, in the House of Earth and Blood series. I suppose this is the first one. I've never read Sarah J. Maas before. I heard a lot of hype about her, so when I heard out she was bringing out an adult book, I thought that that would be a great time to kind of try and figure out whether I like her writing or not. And this is about, I need to know the name, Bryce, who loves to party it up with all different angels and fays and things, and then a demon murders her two best friends and she has to partner up with someone, even though the supposed killer is behind bars. She has to partner up with a fallen angel and try and find the killers, and it sounds pretty interesting to me. This next book is The Lost Future of Pepper Harrow by Natasha Pulley. I actually think this is a kind of sequel to The Watchmaker of Filigree Street, which I haven't read and didn't realise that I needed to before I bought this book. So I've ordered that book and it's on its way, and as soon as I read that, I will read this because it sounds very interesting. It's set in Tokyo at the beginning of the 20th century and scary things are going on. Someone goes missing, but I don't want to know too much in case it spoils the first book. The last book I want to show you is You Let Me In by Camilla Bruce. I read a review of this in a magazine and thought I needed to read it. Apparently it's kind of odd and a bit unsettling, but it's basically about a woman who, her family are pretty convinced she got away with murder. So when she vanishes and leaves behind a note, they think it will be a confession. But what it is a very, very weird kind of story about men made of twigs and girls treated badly and brought up in the shadows. It sounds very interesting and I'm looking forward to reading such an odd and unsettling tale. Okay, thank you so much for watching my book haul. Comment below if you would like to buddy read any of these with me, and tell me what books you've bought recently, or if you have read any of the books that I've just had and you want to share your opinions on it. That would be great. You can get me on Twitter at AbbieMattReads. I have a Facebook page, facebook.com/AbbieMattReads. I will also put my Goodreads link down below. Please subscribe if you haven't already. It would mean a lot to me, and I love getting thumbs up and likes, so that would be awesome too if you can. Thanks for watching. Bye!